Okay, I'll give you the floor.
Okay, thank you very much, Cam, and thank you for promoting me to professor. That's I haven't earned that yet, so that's really, really nice. Thank you very much. Um, cool. Yes, my name's Henry Troy. I'm a lecturer at Nanzan University, and I was formerly at NUFS as well. Um, I'm going to do what it says on the tin, using trivia quizzes in the language classroom. This is quite a kind of practical presentation. There's not a lot of research basis for this. This is much more something or I use often and I think is good. So I want to share. Um, so yeah, brief introduction. Then we'll look at why it might be good to use trivia quizzes in the classroom, what kinds, which different types of quiz you might use, um, examples. I'm going to give several examples of quizzes that I use, and then of course we're going to have a little quiz of our own, just a short one at the end. But the only thing you'll need is pen and paper or pencil and paper for that later on. The introduction mostly already done. As I said, I work at Nanzan. I'm also a PhD candidate with the University of Leeds on a completely different subject, nothing to do with trivia quizzes. Why did I choose trivia quizzes for this particular presentation? I really like them. Basically, I think they're really fun. Not just in the language classroom. I remember doing pub quizzes a lot back in my days in the UK. Um, and even since I came to Japan, those who worked with me during the COVID times will know I organized quizzes online for us co-workers at NUFS. Um, so yeah, I just really like them, and I think they're really fun. So I think they're fun for the students too. Uh, so looking at why to use them in the actual language classroom. Yeah, as I said, they're fun. They're motivating. I did do a bit of reading. As I said, this is not steeped in research exactly or in um, evidence-based theory or anything. But I did do a bit of reading, and what little evidence I found, because there wasn't much on trivia quizzes, uh, was mostly connected to motivation and how it can be motivating for learning. Um, there was a bit on maybe it helps students remember information as well, because the simple connection between interest and memory. Um, it helps them discuss things, including things that they perhaps are not automatically interested in. It gives them a fun way into each topic. And to some extent, again, it doesn't have a reference here, this is my own opinion. I think it encourages a bit of self-learning. You can turn into someone like me who ends up in Wikipedia and then another Wikipedia page and then another Wikipedia page just because you become curious and interested about general knowledge. Um, okay, so what kind of quizzes? Again, these are just my personal recommendations. Obviously, they should hopefully be relevant to the topic. So whatever topic you're doing, a quiz related to that topic can be a good starter for the topic especially. I especially don't recommend complicated trivia quizzes. So trivia quizzes are not really tests. They're supposed to advance knowledge, provoke discussion. So they shouldn't be overly complicated. And connected to that, you can see what I put next, which is I recommend multiple choice questions, not open questions. Why? Because then they can still have a guess, even if they have no idea of the answer. Um, of course, if they're advanced students, you might use some open questions. Absolutely, there should be group work rather than individual, although the one we're doing later is individual. Um, because again, then they can talk about what they think the answers are or work in teams, more collaborative, more speaking, more listening. Yeah, and I kind of like the style, as you'll see with some of these quizzes, where so they get the question, then they discuss the possible answer, then they're given the answer, then they discuss the answer. That type of framework is one I like. Um, the first example I'm going to use is student self-made quiz, and this is one I use with every class at least once a year, I think, especially the first class, last class. of a quarter or semester. So basically, they make their own quiz. They're given topics, like here you can see food and drink, and then they're put into groups. And in their groups, they make questions and multiple choice answers. And then once I've gathered all of those, so while they're making the questions, I'll be going around and monitoring, making sure there's no ridiculous questions or ridiculous answers. Um, and then they do it basically. As you can see, this is the answer sheet. So they'll answer all the questions that were not from their own topic, obviously. So that takes up a good portion of a lesson, sometimes even an entire lesson if you choose to have more topics. And you're getting them to do the work themselves. So yeah, I really like this way of using trivia quizzes in the classroom. Next, what I'm calling topic relevant general knowledge quizzes. Okay, so you have a topic and then you'll have a general knowledge quiz to go with it. Again, it's a good way to introduce the topic or just break up maybe heavier parts of a topic. These are a few examples. I'm going to show you a couple of them. The first is a real or fake news quiz. So this is where I'm going to skip over just to show you briefly what it kind of looks like. It's being a bit slow, but let's get back up to the top. So basically, I use this in a media unit. I'm not going to go through the whole slideshow or anything, but what you can see is you're given a story, a news story, and then they read it, and then they discuss, do they think it's real, do they think it's true or false? And then the truth is revealed with the source, either the fake source or the real source if it's real news. And at the end of that quiz, they do their own activity, which is basically which is the lie. So they come up with one of their own stories, which is not true. And then they also research two stories which are true but sound unbelievable. And I give them some sites they might find these stories on. And then they play a game. They play which is the lie in groups. So they read out their three stories, including their one fake story. They try and guess. And this one's really useful for media units to show how difficult it can be to tell just on the surface whether the story is true or not, and why we need to go a few more steps to verify information. The second one I'm going to show you is the travel statistics quiz. This one I do need to update because the statistics are pre-COVID statistics. But in basic terms, it's a quiz where you get a question. So I'll just briefly show the first question. What are the most visited countries in the world? And then in groups, they'll guess what they think the countries are. And then I'll reveal them. As you see, 2017, so a little bit late, a little bit old. Then they'll reveal the answers, and then they'll have like this. Was your prediction correct? Are you surprised by the results? And why do you think these countries are the most visited? And then again and again with other travel statistics. So those are sort of general knowledge topics specific quizzes. The second type I want to show you or give you an example of is topic relevant personal quizzes. So instead of general knowledge, these will be about the students themselves. So a personality test quiz, what kind of journalist are you? You can see I do quite a few media things. And then a how happy are you and how healthy are you quiz. Let's start with the personality one. So the personality one I've got here, and it's not a slideshow this time. It's just basically a shortened version of the MBTI test. So it has 10 statements and they agree or disagree. I might close a couple of windows because of the slow it is. Okay. So yeah, they just to what extent do you agree, sort of like a scale, and then it identifies their MBTI and they discuss. That's it. Again, it's an introductory thing for a personality unit that I use. And the other one I'm going to show you is how healthy are you? So the how healthy are you, how happy are you ones obviously have a small element of risk in that um, you don't want to get too personal. So I always have sort of a disclaimer at the start of these ones. Sorry, here it is. Um, so you can see at the bottom I've written like this quiz is just for fun. Don't take it too seriously. Health is a complicated issue. Blah blah blah. Um, and yeah, I try to keep it fairly light because, of course, you might have students who are very unhealthy or have issues with their health. And you might have students who are very unhappy or have issues with their mental health. So you have to be a little bit careful with the personal quizzes. Um, so the questions are quite simple. Do you smoke? Do you drink, etc. Um, not too deep. But it is good. Again, it provokes a lot of discussion, so I get a lot of interest, and then um, people can also sort of predict beforehand. And I don't think I've ever had anyone end up in this group, the very unhealthy group. That would be a bit worrying. But yeah, so those are the sort of the personal quizzes. Um, two more types, I think, or one more maybe. No, just one more, I think. The just for fun quiz. So I said topic relevant is better. However, I do sort of random quizzes just for fun. Again, perhaps you have a very heavy unit, or you want to use this at the beginning or end of a quarter. Whatever reason. Obviously, the Christmas one I use for Christmas. The zombie one I throw in at some point during the year. And the animal one can also go in at any point. So as I mentioned at the beginning, fun, motivation is one of the main reasons to use a trivia quiz. So why not throw in some ones that are just for fun, not for any particular other purpose? So the zombie one, I'll just briefly show you. Um, they're put in groups, and their goal is to make choices that will hopefully result in their survival at the end of this 3-day apocalypse. So they're given sort of a situation, and then they're given choices, and then they discuss in groups what choice they're going to make. And at the end, they'll be dead or alive, depending on their choices. Again, that one's just for fun. Similar with the animal one. So in the animal quiz, yeah, it's just general knowledge stuff about animals. I guess you could throw it into a unit which is about animals as the topic. That would make it topic relevant. But again, mostly I use it just for fun, when a bit of fun is needed, I think, in the class, when it's perhaps a grammar lesson or a reading lesson. So yes, those are the different types of quiz. Um, And as I said, in general, I try to keep them topic relevant, but I love to throw in quizzes throughout the year, really, because they're sort of a guaranteed winner. They're sort of something that's guaranteed to perk up the class a bit, compared with some other activities. Um, so with that in mind, let's do one. Let's do a quiz. So the quiz we're going to do. I chose this one because it doesn't involve much discussion in groups. I thought if we tried breakout rooms, or if I tried to get you to discuss, it would get a bit complicated, a bit messy, especially for such a short presentation. So for this, all you need, as I said, is a pen and paper, or pencil and pen. Sorry, pencil and paper, and or even just a good memory, because there's only a few questions. So it's a travel quiz. One moment. Um, and this quiz is supposed to match you with a place that, sorry, let's go back to the beginning. With a place that suits your preferences when it comes to travel. So let's try it out together and see what you end up with. So, hopefully you can see okay. And there's going to be three questions, three choices. So the first choice is to choose an experience. So you choose A or B or C. So just write down A or B or C. So A is an adventure holiday, more active. You can see that person perhaps on the right there, on the top of a mountain, that type of idea. Then you've got the B, the relaxation choice, self-explanatory, and discovery, less self-explanatory. Discovering new stuff, I guess. So it's not quite as active as an adventure holiday, not quite as zen as a relaxation holiday. Um, but you discover new things. Guess that's true with anywhere anyway. But A or B or C. The second is to choose a distance, how far you want to go. So if you want to stay in Japan, you choose A. And I do get quite a lot of students choose A here. Um, if you want to stay in the region, so Southeast Asia, East Asia, or the Pacific, then you would write B. Or if you want a more international trip, you would put C. So hopefully now you have two letters, A, B, or C, B, or whatever. The last choice is very, very simple. The landscape, A, city, B, countryside. That's very broad, I know. City covers towns as well. Countryside covers things like beach holidays and mountains and so forth. So very broad, but hopefully now you have three letters. Okay. So I think we'll do this via the raised hand or any way you'd like to indicate yourself. Basically, I'm gonna read out, for example, the first one I think is AAA. And if anyone is AAA, could you please indicate yourself? So either unmute yourself and say, I'm AAA, or put up your hand or something, okay? So with that in mind, are there any AAAs? Because that's the first one we're going to look at. Okay, Ziffo's indicated he's ABB, almost ABBA. Um, right, okay, I'll presume there are no AAAs. If you were, oh, now let's see what you match. So if you were AAA, you would get Tokyo Disneyland. Kind of boring answer, I think. If you chose an AAA, you want to stay close. Um, but if you did get AAA, I'm sorry for calling it boring. Did anyone get ABA? Anyone? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing a lot of international people here, so we're probably going to get a lot of C's for the second question. But ABA would be Nagano skiing. Um, and you can see each one has a short description of the uh, activity. So ABA, I think, is next. Anyone ABA? Probably the easiest way is if you unmute and just say me. Okay. Again, I'll presume there's no one who's ABA. ABA is USS, which is Universal Studios Singapore. I know there's an ABB. That's Chris. Any other ABBs? Okay, no worries. So Chris, uh, let's see what you got. Volcano trekking in Indonesia. Can you get a short description? So apparently, I mean, I did a bit of research for this. Apparently, there's all these famous volcanoes in Indonesia. Okay, someone's Nick's indicated CBB. Thank you. Um, cool. Just take a note of what you get, because we'll check it later. Okay, any ACAs? No, that's climbing Sydney Harbour Bridge. I've been to Sydney. I don't think I'd climb the bridge personally. We must be on to ACB now. Any ACBs? Ah, yes, Nick is an ACB. Uh, Trek the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu. I've never been to Machu Picchu, but pretty famous, pretty special spot. Two CBBs. Um, yeah, once you've got your place, just sort of take a quick note of it. Um, so yes, this is not only Machu Picchu, this is trekking to Machu Picchu. Any BAAs? Yeah, I'm just taking a note of the ones. So thank you, Brianna. BAA is a Zen meditation course in Kyoto. Any BABs? No? Okay. That would be Kusatsu Onsen in Gunma. BCA, okay. Thank you, Marissa. Um, Looks pretty amazing, that one. BBA, any BBAs? This is something I did just recently. I was just in Thailand last summer. So yeah, Thai spa and massage in Bangkok. I think next is must be BBB. Any BBBs? No? Okay, BBB is similar, but it's the countryside version. So it's a resort and spa in Thailand. I think we must be BCA now. And there was a BCA, wasn't there? Let me just double check the chat. Yes, Marissa was BCA. So you're up, Marissa, and you've got Venice. Um, Very stylized picture of Venice, but yeah, it looks quite nice. So this is supposed to be a combination of relaxing, but in a city, which perhaps doesn't reflect what I've actually heard about Venice. But anyway, um, any BCBs? No? Okay, no worries. BCB is the Blue Lagoon in Iceland, which I think is one of the biggest hot springs in the world. We move into the seas. CAA, I guess, must be next. That is Sapporo. So it's supposed to be, I think, city and you don't go too far. CAB, I think we've got a lot of people chose CB. CAB is scuba diving in Okinawa. Next must be CBA, and I think we have at least one CBA. I'll just quickly check. CBA, Brianna. Okay, so Brianna, you're up. And you have just Seoul, Korea. So you must have chosen city, I guess. And it's got obviously Myeongdong, um, and other areas, K-pop. I mean, my students go on and on about Korea now. CBB, I think we have several people, uh, at least two anyway. CBB, you are the Great Wall of China, which I've been to a long, long time ago. And a few notes down there. We're nearly done. And then I guess CCA must be next. Is New York. And a list of the attractions there. And finally, CCB is Egypt, the pyramids, and the camels. Okay, and then after that would be a big discussion, right? So are you happy with the place it's given you? This is the one question I'm going to ask a few people now, but I'll just go through the other questions. So that this would be a big discussion in groups. What are the positives and negatives? Why did you choose each option? Name other places you would like to visit. And how do you like to travel? Do you prefer to travel by yourself, with others, or with your friends, family, romantic partner, etc.? But I will ask a few people the first one. Are you happy with the place that you got? I think Chris volunteered. So what did you get, Chris?
The volcano trekking in Indonesia.
Okay, what did you think?
Yeah, I'd love it. I'd love to go to Indonesia. Never been, so yeah, nice choice.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, the quiz doesn't always work. Some people are very unhappy with their choices, but thank you, Chris. How about you, Pete? What did you
Yes, I've got the pyramids in Egypt. I've never been there. Looks like a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never been there either, but sounds good. I'll just try a few more random people. So how about you, Hussein, if you're there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh,
Yes,
what did
everything
you
is.
get?
Well, I got ABB.
ABB. Oh God, am I go back? Let's see. ABB. You got you're the same as Chris, volcano trekking. How does that
Yeah,
sound?
good. Sounds great. Actually, I've been to Fuji Mountain. I went to I went to Mount Fuji Mountain and I loved it. So volcano trekking in nature sounds very fun.
Cool, thanks. Wow, this quiz is working better than it usually does in class. How about you, Cam?
I got Seoul, and if Ko Tiso accepts my abstract, I might go.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Thank you, Henry.
Yeah, no, that's it. So yeah, obviously there's a few references, but that's it. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoy your travels to those places which now, you have to go to. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation and yeah, thank you very much.
Let's give